Welcome to Mrs. True Crime. Today's video is an in-depth look into the kidnapping of Kamiyah Mobley. It's a tale of panic and complex emotions. If you are triggered by anything dealing with kidnapping or crimes against children, feel free to click off this video. Perhaps check out a turtle video for some lighthearted content. If not, I'm Nicole. Let's get started.
You remember about how long after that was that you first met the person you learned in January of 2017 was Gloria Williams, the abductor of your baby?
My baby, that she was already in there, but she came in and told me she was a nurse. And I thought that's what she was. She dressed it like what?
On July 10th, 1998, Gloria Williams walked into what is now UFC Health Jacksonville in Jacksonville, Florida, dressed in floral blue hospital scrubs with a bag, and entered 16-year-old Shanara Mobley's room.
What did you do on July 10th, 1998?
Well, I was heading home. I took 17, and when I got into Walterboro, I don't know. I just felt like I was on autopilot, and I got on 95 South and just headed south.
Where were you going?
I don't know. I had no plans, nothing.
Inside the room, the two engaged in conversation. At Mrs. Williams' sentencing, Mobley took the stand and described her as, quote, nice, unquote, saying that Williams was in her hospital room for hours and that at one point prayed over the small infant. Williams testified that she did, in fact, help Mobley during her labor. She states she got her a fresh gown and helped her throughout her hourly stay. What all that entailed, she didn't specify. Williams continued that the two conversed mostly about their families. Soon, an 8-pound, 2-ounce infant was carried into the room. She was 21 inches long, wrapped in a white baby blanket with pink and blue stripes. Article description says the infant wore a white t-shirt. Her name was Kamiyah Mobley.
What was going through your mind during that time?
I don't know. I was thinking about, maybe this baby can help Charles. That's what I was thinking. And after me and Miss Mobley was talking, it was like she was so young and she wasn't real sure about what she was going to do. And just my mindset at that time wasn't logical. It definitely wasn't logical, but from what I was thinking at that time, it seemed right. It seemed right.
At approximately 3 p.m., Williams told Mobley the infant needed her temperature checked, and she would return shortly with her. Witness statements obtained from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, Director of Infant Abduction John Radman, found that nurses saw Williams holding the 8-hour-old in her arms. They were rushing down the hall with another woman in labor and recalled scolding Williams that it wasn't a hospital procedure to carry a baby in her arms. So, Williams went back into Mobley's room, briefly talked to her, waited for the nurses to pass, then left, still holding the infant, before placing her inside a bag. After 20 minutes, the hospital called police to report a possible kidnapping. At the time, there wasn't a photo of the infant, and so sketches had to be drawn of what she was assumed to look like. Along with her drawing was a drawing of the woman Mobley said took her child. She was described as 30 to 35. Quote, could have been wearing a wig that was dark brown, straight, about short in length, and curled under at the bottom. She is African American, about 5 feet 5 inches tall, and 150 to 160 pounds. She also wore reading glasses. Unquote. Helicopters circled the hospital. Police stopped and searched vehicles leaving the medical center and checked each floor of the facility room by room. Airports, bus terminals, and cab companies were alerted. Within the first year of baby Kamiyah's disappearance, posters were plastered over Jacksonville, and she made 3 appearances on America's Most Wanted. But she was long gone from Florida. As the search pressed on, Mobley and her family felt authorities were of little help to the investigation.
Did you think that the sheriff's office, did you feel that the sheriff's office and or the greater community was blaming you, was looking at you?
Everybody. I was harassed. My hospital bed was punched. Nobody can take that back. I haven't got a furniture from nobody, and people talking about money. Who can put a price on somebody's child?
Craig Aiken, father of Kamiyah, never got a chance to see his daughter. He was in jail on a drug charge. In 1999, in an interview with the Florida Times-Union, Craig said, "I have dreams all the time, but I don't know what the baby looks like. All I know is I'm holding the baby and playing with the baby. The only thing I have to remember her by is her name, Kamiyah." After admitting to fathering Kamiyah during the publicized kidnapping, Craig was in charge with, quote, lewd lasciviousness and indecent assault on a child, unquote, and sentenced to 8 months more in jail. At the time of Kamiyah's conception, Shanara was 15 and Craig was 23. His interview continued on that he was frustrated he couldn't help aid the search or grieve for his daughter. He recalls multiple police interviews and court trips. Quote, "If they, the police, would have spent more time looking for the baby and less time harassing us, something would have come of it," he said. Craig further insisted that police pressed him into admitting Mobley's connection to the kidnapping in the first few months, but he said he didn't think anyone in the family would do anything like this. Later that year, Mobley filed a lawsuit against the hospital and settled in 2000, but no amount of money or compensation can make up for the loss of her child or the nightmares that haunted the teen.
So, as you're physically recovering, how are you doing mentally as a 16-year-old woman that's had your child taken?
Nightmares. Self-medicating myself. I just didn't want to be free. Thinking about suicide every day. People got to stay around me all day, every day to watch me. Nobody's leaving me unattended.
Elsewhere in South Carolina, Gloria Williams changed Kamiyah's name, calling her Alexis Kelly Manigault, and brought her into a home of chaos.
I just thought, this would bring peace to the house. The abuse would stop, the violence would stop. And it didn't.
Prior to the kidnapping, Gloria Williams was a single mother of 2 boys, Andre and Anton. In 1997, she began dating Charles Manigault. At sentencing, Williams explained that the relationship started off well, then took a turn. Manigault became abusive, verbally and physically. It was so chaotic that her ex-husband stepped in and sought custody for their 2 children. Now it was just Williams and Manigault. Eventually, Manigault wanted a baby, and in '98, Williams thought she could give him just that. She became pregnant, thinking the baby would be the answer to keep their relationship afloat. During her first trimester, Williams noticed bleeding. She phoned the doctor, who claimed it was normal during that time, but it was far too much. Gloria had miscarried. Her depression getting the better of her, Williams claimed it was her feeling of loss that caused her to drive from Walterboro, South Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida. She says she had no intent of selling a baby that day. Dressed and attired from her nursing home job, Williams entered the maternity ward, and from there, Miss Mobley's room. Bringing Kamiyah home, Williams said she was convinced Mobley would find her and take the baby back. When that day didn't come, she tossed and turned over the years and whether or not today would be the day to return who was now Alexis Manigault. Her love of the young girl won out, and she and Alexis left Manigault and remained together for 18 years. And though, according to our reports, Alexis lived a fairly stable and happy life, her predicament was holding her back from being the 2 things that most teens want: a job and a driver's license. In order to get a job and a valid driver's license, Alexis needed a birth certificate and a social security card. Her birth certificate was forged, and the social security number she used in high school was stolen from a Virginia man who died in 1983. Deciding the time had come, Williams told Alexis the truth, finding flyers and other identifications to back up her story. Williams explained at sentencing that she offered to turn herself in, but Alexis advised against it. For a while, the matter of who was Alexis Manigault settled, but then, in 2017, Williams received a phone call.
Well, it's a missing persons case. The missing persons Kamiyah Mobley. A nephew that was taken from Jacksonville in '98. That's all I want to say right now. Unless you want to talk more about that.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
I don't know anything about that.
You don't know anything about it? Never heard anything?
If you happen to, or anything, we can talk.
Despite Alexis' heritage being a secret, both Alexis and Williams confided in others, and two of them reported the crime. The reports were called into the NCMEC in 2016. The first tip was from a male who stated that Williams confessed to him that she stole a baby from a hospital in Jacksonville. The second tip was from a friend of Alexis, who explained the same, even going so far as to recite Alexis' birth name. In 2017, detectives phoned Williams and asked for both her and Alexis to come to Jacksonville. From there, a DNA sample was taken from Alexis, and it came back as a positive ID for Kamiyah Mobley. According to her sentencing trial, Williams claims that Alexis wanted her to run amid notice of her arrest warrant, but she refused. And around 4 a.m., dressed in her nightgown and bonnet, Gloria Williams was arrested and taken to Duval County Police Station. After a tearful goodbye between Alexis and Williams, Alexis was reunited sometime later with her biological parents. Akin exclaimed that he and his daughter took to each other immediately, but her relationship with Mobley has been rocky. Alexis, or Kamiyah if you will, acknowledges what Williams has done, but states that her love for her will not change. Kamiyah and Williams have written each other and phoned constantly during Williams' 511 days in jail. Williams entered a plea agreement that foregoes a trial and calls for a sentence between 0 to 22 years in prison. Had she gone to trial, she could have received life. She explained to the judge that she wasn't coerced when she kidnapped Kamiyah, nor did anyone assist her. At 9:55 a.m., February 10, 2018, Judge Mariana Aho accepted Williams' guilty plea. Her sentence hearing covered 2 days, and witnesses for the prosecution and defense spoke, including Shanara Mobley, Craig Akin, Antoine Bolden, Andre Bolden, Charles Manigault, and Gloria Williams. Kamiyah Mobley did not testify. While family and friends of William asked for leniency, Mobley asked for death. In the end, Gloria Williams was sentenced to 18 years in jail for kidnapping, including 5 years for custodial interference that is to be served concurrently. Though Williams is now behind bars, her presence in Kamiyah's life and, by association, Shanara Mobley's, hasn't ceased.
Life, and this is what Gloria and Kamiyah brought upon my children. And I truly, really feel deep in my heart, I just wish she would have never came back. I really do. Because you came back. This woman made a mockery of my life when she took my baby. And not only did you make a mockery when you brought my baby back, but you let her help you make a mockery of my life. And this judge allowed this lady to keep reaching out to my child every day. So she's still committing a crime, and you had the right to stop that, and you did not.
Though the day Kamiyah and Mobley met officially was filled with tears and happiness, it has since turned bittersweet. Kamiyah continues to call Williams mother and send her Mother's Day cards and phone her frequently. Mobley states that she hasn't received one card from her daughter. As of July 2018, Mobley has blocked Kamiyah from her phone and Facebook, finding it hard to read or see kind words and photos of Kamiyah and Williams. Mobley has since said that Kamiyah has to pick between her or Williams, saying, quote, "Nobody acknowledges my pain. I feel like I'm being robbed all over again every time she reaches out to my daughter. Every phone call they share, every Mother's Day card Kamiyah sends her, it just makes the pain worse. I'm being rejected for a kidnapper. How do you think that feels?" Unquote. According to the Daily Mail, Kamiyah still lives in Williams' home and continues to go by Alexis Manigault on Facebook and other social media. The one upside to this tragedy is the technology that is now used in hospitals to track and monitor both babies and parents. At the time of Kamiyah's kidnapping, 83 infant abductions had been reported to the FBI. Currently, that number is 325. According to Bonnie Michelman, Executive Director of Police, Security, and Outside Services at Massachusetts General Hospital and former president of the International Association for Healthcare Safety and Security, approximately 80% of hospitals use electronic tagging for babies and ID branding system for parents. The electronic tagging system sends an alert if a baby is moved out of the maternity ward, while the ID bands verify parents' identities. Hospital employees also wear special identification that makes it easy for parents to identify them as someone authorized to hold or transport their baby. Hospitals also require babies to be transported in bassinets, and at many hospitals, babies are kept in their mother's room. To further prepare for an abduction, medical facilities hold cold pink drills to practice for an abduction attempt. Michelman advises parents to ask processing questions surrounding their infant and to limit social media posting about their pregnancy. It has been 20 years now since Kamiyah Mobley was taken from her mother's hospital room, and though each person involved is learning to grow and heal, some scars may not be able to. Hospitals have strengthened their security to prevent abductions, and of 325 reported, only 16 remain missing. But if you ask me, these procedures should have been in place a long time ago. I'm Mrs. True Crime, and remember to be kind, be loud, be aware. For more information about Gloria Williams, Kamiyah Mobley, or Shanara Mobley, why not check out some of these awesome links. And if you like what you saw and heard today, why not drop a like and a comment. Maybe subscribe while you're here. I make new videos every Wednesday, and you don't want to miss what's in store.